On to item 7, presentations. Members of committee, I'd like now to call on Paul Johnson to introduce item 7.1 and the neighbourhood representatives who will be speaking to the neighbourhood action plans for Davis Creek and Riverdale neighbourhoods. Good morning, Paul.
Morning. Good morning, Madam Deputy Mayor. It is my pleasure to be here this morning to continue to bring forward information and updates around the work in a number of our neighbourhoods here in this city. This morning you will be hearing from 2 neighbourhoods who are bringing forward their neighbourhood action plans. This is a follow-up from the meeting that was held, a special meeting of General Issues Committee in late September, where you heard from 4 neighbourhoods on their planning processes. I would like to just remind you that as well as the plans that are coming forward today, the first 4 plans that were approved and endorsed by yourselves, we have begun that implementation process and are pleased with some of the things that are happening. We're pleased to hear that there will be renovations happening at the Eva Rothwell Resource Centre in Keith neighbourhood, and we will be a partner in the investment that will go on there, making that a more vital community centre for that community. We're pleased to hear that over $450,000 of investments from the Hamilton Community Foundation will be flowing through 41 grants into 8 of the neighbourhoods that we're involved with in partnership with the foundation here at the city. We're pleased that a number of resident leaders are participating in a leadership program called the Neighbourhood Leadership Institute and are building their capacity to be leaders within their own communities. And we're also pleased to see reports that have come forward to you around community economic development and investment in our parks that will be assisting some of these neighbourhoods as well. In short, implementation is underway, as well as the planning that you're going to hear about today. So you'll hear from 2 communities today, both in Ward 5. Davis Creek, which is in the Quigley Road area, and this group of residents is so excited about the work that's going on in the neighbourhood that they've even proposed that they call themselves by a different name. So changing names and bringing some spirit to the community is what this process is all about. You'll also hear from the Riverdale community, the east end of our community as well. I'm going to ask both to come forward and suggest to you, Madam Deputy Mayor, that we hear from both communities first and then entertain questions to those resident leaders. As always, I want to thank the staff, in particular Suzanne Brown, who's been leading our community engagement process around the development of these plans, and in particular the Social Planning and Research Council, who assisted in facilitating these conversations in the Riverdale neighbourhood. But as always, it's the residents who own these plans and will be at the center of them. And so it's the residents who will be presenting these plans to you today. Following the presentations and any questions that you have of them, there are recommendations in our report. These recommendations are almost identical. Some names and report titles have changed, but they're almost identical to the recommendations that came forward to you on September 24th when we dealt with the first 4 neighbourhood plans. So without further ado, I'd like to call upon David Delandis from the Davis Creek community. He's here with his daughter, I think, who's also part of the public gallery this morning. David, welcome.
Good morning, David. Thank you. Yes, and welcome.
Morning. Thank you. I guess first of all, I'd just like to say that. Open down a bit. Are we okay? Okay. I am the co-chair of the Davis Creek Community Planning Team. And unfortunately, of error of mine, I did have a short video I had put together of the neighbourhood. To my understanding, it is going to be available on the minutes through the website. So I would appreciate if everyone took a look at it when you have time. Mostly the point of the video was just to kind of highlight some of the diversity of the Davis Creek area. It is like from one end to the other as far as the financial side of things. You have $1 million homes on one side, and right in that core area, there's a few properties that most people would consider somewhat of an eyesore or somewhat on the lower end of things. And I actually happen to live on one of them. I think from my experience anyway, I didn't always live in that area, and I came down there some 3 years ago. And moving into the area, I noticed there's a big difference between my daughter and some of the other kids there in terms of, I guess the aggression and the language and things like that. And that's kind of how I got involved initially, was getting involved on the property I'm in. And I started a tenant association there and tried to do some stuff there, and slowly it migrated on to being part of the Davis Creek group as well. And I guess what I'd like to say is in regards to the Davis Creek group, it sounds like a newer group compared to some of the other neighborhoods maybe. But I think the fact of the matter is that neighborhood is still just as old a neighborhood, and the people involved on the group have been involved in pockets as is already, and it's just a matter that things are starting to come together. And if you go around to some of the properties, even the ones, like I say, that are on the lower end, you'll find that they do have maybe a summer barbecue going on where they do still try to have a community type spirit on that property, and there's more than one. So that some of that was highlighted in that video, where I was able to get some still shots from different activities going on. As of right now, I mean, as a group, we've only been together for about a year, just coming up on anyway. We've already, formulated this plan based on what we see immediately as being our 5 goals. So far, as far as I guess accomplishments wise, we could say that we have been continuing with promoting the events that we see already going on, as well as trying to come up with new ones that we want to engage everyone in, and see if that will spin into an outreach type thing where we can start pulling them into the greater, sitting around the table trying to figure out together how we're going to pull the whole area into something. And as far as the accomplishments already in this year, as we were able to cite that the street Albright Road, they have 3 elementary schools all in that same area. So we have a high density of kids in that area, and for some reason that street slipped under the radar as far as being posted appropriately as a school zone and such. So that was something that we were able to work on and get changed immediately. I guess one of our bigger concerns, obviously, at this point would be the whole redevelopment of Bishop Ryan, that whole area, because the fact of the matter is, as far as Laurier Rec Center, they share that gym, and once Bishop Ryan is gone, obviously, there's going to be an issue. There's going to be a loss of a gym, and I think the area is already just to stay at level. We really need to see what's going to happen as far as trying to have a new gym put in place somehow connected to the rec center. That rec center happens to be probably one of our top assets in that area, and especially that is geographically located amongst those lesser properties, if you wish. So as we work and hopefully get move that direction, we'd like to see that we can, I guess, try and push some programming or try and highlight things that are needed in the community that are specific to that area, try and utilize that space as something of a meeting area for the youth and for other programming that might be required. I would like to say that, like I said earlier, that we do have a number of people in the core group of our Davis Creek planning team, and they've been active in the community for a long time. So although the name is new, like I say, there's a lot of experience already there as far as the dedication, as far as already trying to get out, trying to talk to people, trying to get interest and get feedback about what we're going to do, how we're going to do things. And we're certainly looking forward to being able to bring back information and be kept up to date as accurately as possible, so that we can move that quicker as can be. Obviously, we don't have any firm idea about where that's at. We can hear all kinds of things, but we don't know specifically. But I do think that moving in an expeditious fashion as far as getting that new gym put in, if that can be arranged, because I do think that's going to be a critical point to maintaining, maybe the sanity level, if you wish, of the youth in the area. I guess, I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit of loss because my little 4-minute video is non-existent right at this moment. So if there's any questions, I guess.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Councillor Collins, did you wish to? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, David.
Stay over there and we'll get you. As you can hear, Madam Deputy Mayor, there are some residents from both of the neighbourhoods who are presenting to you today with us in the public gallery. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention and bring specific attention to Judy Kloosterman, who is the community development worker for both of these neighbourhoods, no stranger around this table and in this community. From a presentation perspective for Riverdale neighbourhood, I'd like to invite forward Roxana Amir to come and present to us today. Her family also in the gallery with us, but come forward.
Just speak close to it.
Okay. Yeah. Hello and good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Okay. Hello and good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Roxana Amir, and I am from Pakistan. And this is my first time speaking like this to a group like you. English is not my first language. And please be kind with me because maybe I do some mistake, and I'm sorry about that. And I came to Canada almost 13 years ago. I have lived in Riverdale almost 5 years. Riverdale is a community of many people from different countries around the world and is very multicultural. We have so much to learn from everyone. It's a great place to live. Riverdale has the highest population of the renters in the city, highest population of the poverty in the city, and has the highest population of the new Canadians. There are 17 high-rise apartment buildings, 5 townhouse complexes and single houses. There are over 7,500 people who live in Riverdale. Riverdale is like from Lake Avenue, Centennial Parkway, Queenston Road, and Barton. Every September, we have our Fall Fest, which brings together all the communities. Riverdale has been doing the Fall Fest for about 15 years. Two of the most important places in Riverdale for me have a community center and the ESL school. I met most of friends there. I have learned a lot of things there too. Before that, I was in my apartment building, not knowing anyone. I joined the Women Alive program. I met a lot of women there, and I make friends over there. I became active in Riverdale community about 5 years ago. I joined the Neighbourhood Hub community in 2006. This group became the Riverdale planning team in 2012. I am proud to be a chair that committee. Our first step was the bringing the community together to see what they needed, what we were missing. We have a very good group of community residents, very nice people. There are about 28 on our list to call for meetings. The committee members are from all different backgrounds. We want people to move in Riverdale, stay in the Riverdale, and raise their families in the Riverdales. We worked although the 2012 to do the plan work, we are very proud of this plan. We hope as a community we have brought the voice of the people forward and have covered their main concerns. Issues the planning team is working on. First one is space. The team doesn't have regular meeting space. The community center is full of Saturday programs. It's hard to meet in the apartment because tenants are scared of their superintendents. We were working with the school to see if they have space. Hopefully, we will find space we can our own. Second one is the improve the quality of tenants housing in Riverdale. Third one, to increase food security for residents in Riverdale. That's just to name a few. The whole plan is your Riverdale Neighborhood Action Plan book. जिस तरह मैंने पहले कहा कि हम चाहते हैं कि लोग रिवरडेल में नकल मकानी करें और रिवरडेल में रहें और अपनी खानदानों को वहाँ रेज करें। और मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहती हूँ कि आप लोगों ने मुझे यहाँ मदऊ किया कि मैं रिवरडेल के बारे में बात करूँ। As I said before, we want people to move in the Riverdale, stay in the Riverdale, and raise their families in the Riverdale. I would like to thank for you invite me to speak to you today about Riverdale, and I wanna thank you, Jody, because she helped me a lot. That's my first time, and she make me she gave me confidence. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxana. Excellent presentation. Yeah, come on
At this
forward.
time, Madam Deputy Mayor, our speakers are available for questions, and either myself or Suzanne, if there are questions on the staff recommendations, are available to answer those.
Thank you, and I'll start my speakers list, and I have Councillor Collins and Councillor Johnson.
Madam Chairman, I don't have any questions at this point in time. If you want to put me on the speakers list, then I'd like to speak at that point.
Questions then, Councillor Johnson? No? Speakers list. So no one has any questions? Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to both presenters. How do you communicate with the broader group? We have these very committed people who are around us, and everyone is interested. But do you use community newspapers, email, cascades? Could you tell me, both of you, how you approach the communication part?
Well, initially, we did start with just flyering, and Maria's tenacious with that. She's out there flyering like you don't know. But we did sit down. We do have an email. We did start a Facebook page as well. We did talk to Councillor about his newsletter and putting something in there, as well as we've gone to the parent council over at Wilfrid Laurier now. We'll be on our second time, and they've added us into their newsletter there as well. So we are trying to hit as much as possible, as well as the meetings themselves. We do rotate them, and we have them on a so many months kind of thing in one area within Davis Creek. So we are trying to and change the time, the date, kind of thing. So try and make it as accessible as possible.
Have you considered a newsletter, a formal
of our own
published newsletter?
Oh, I think we did discuss it at some point, but I think at this point we were more thinking if we can piggyback onto other ones at this early stage anyway.
Right, thanks. And how about Davis Creek Communications?
Just Riverdale.
I'm sorry, Riverdale.
Yeah, and when we invite them, we call them and we email them, and we have a translator like in the community, like Arabic, Urdu, Hindi, like whatever they need, we have a translation.
Okay, it's just my concern, Madam Deputy Mayor, is that we don't lose any momentum, that the great work starts and the people collect together, and then people get busy and they assume that you're all working on their behalf, but you really have to keep the whole community engaged to the greatest extent possible. And we know how hard it is to get messaging out these days. So thanks for those comments. And I think that should there be any need for help with things like newsletters, even financial considerations, I'm sure that council and the various councillors would care to want to assist in any way we could. Those are my comments and questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll go to comments then. Councillor Collins.
I first want to apologize to the group for the wait that you had prior to presenting here today. Second, I wanted to thank both of the groups for their presentations. Both David and Roxana did a tremendous job today at presenting, and I think if there's two messages if I can, highlight two issues that affect both groups. First and foremost, as you probably read in the report, for the Riverdale area, their top issue there is property standards. And their group is very supportive of the proactive enforcement program that we have through Glenn Wyde and Marty Hazel's group. And so as we continue to debate the licensing of landlords and our proactive property standards program, I want you to think of Riverdale as the poster child for that program, and a neighborhood where that program's been tremendously successful. So we've made our way into some of the buildings in that area. Hopefully we eventually get into all of those buildings. And as you'll note from the report, that has been an issue for them for a number of years. And so the program that we've established over the last number of years, which is now currently a pilot program, is one that will continue to help them if it's made, if we in fact make that a permanent program. For Davis Creek, as David mentioned during his presentation, again, there are a number of goals and objectives in their presentation. But for them, I think top of the list right now is to certainly retain as much of the recreational resources as that they currently have. And this council was kind enough, Madam Chairman, as you know, over the last several weeks, to make an offer to purchase 3 acres of the Bishop Ryan site to accommodate the request that David and his group has asked for, and that is at the very least the retention and hopefully a small expansion to the Sir Wilfrid Laurier Recreation Centre that services those people who are in the Davis Creek catchment area. And so I know that there are a lot of, again, there are a lot of goals and objectives in the reports that have come from us from the neighbourhood planning teams. For me, those are the two biggest issues right now for those respective communities. And it's obviously not just David and Roxana who are here today asking for that. They have a great support group, and they're actually my support group. Evelyn, Marie Yadranka, Wanda, there are so many people who have helped to get us to where we are today. And like all of us around the table, our job is made a whole lot easier from people like these individuals who help us with the day-to-day grassroots things in our neighborhoods. And so I, at this point in time, wanted to publicly thank all of them who are here today and those who couldn't be here today, because they certainly make our community, our neighborhoods, our city a better place with the volunteer hours that they donate, some of them into the dozens or hundreds of hours a year, dedicated for the sole purpose of just making their neighborhood or the place that they live in a better place. And so again, lastly, I want to thank Judy, who everyone knows. And Judy has been in this business for about 20 years in different capacities. And I can honestly say that she is a very special person. And she has done so many things, not just for the neighborhoods that are here today, but for Ward 5, for the East End, and by extension for our city. And I think, there aren't too many people like Judy around who spends her whole life trying to solve everyone else's problems. And I, too, wanted to publicly thank Judy for all that she's done over the years and what she continues to do on a day-to-day basis for everyone who lives in the city of Hamilton. Thanks, Madam Chairman.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor. Well said. Councillor Johnson?
I don't know how I can top that, to be honest with you, but I wanted to also make comments about both these areas. I saw as soon as you open up the booklet, you see the Hamilton Community Foundation's logo, and Sharon Charters walked in the middle of the presentations, Sharon, and anybody who would know Sharon's history knows that I believe 20 years ago you started up with the Riverdale group as well. So congratulations to Sharon. You look like the proud mom up there. And David Derbyshire's here, Debbie Clinton's here, and Judy. These are people that have been working in these neighborhoods long before we said we needed work in those neighborhoods. These people had a vision, and it's so nice to see this come to be. Thank you to both of you for coming today. You both admitted that you don't do this on a regular basis. Well, you did amazingly well, and you spoke well on behalf of your neighborhoods. So here to everyone. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor.
Again, well said. Thank you. Councillor Farr.
I just quickly want to thank David and Rosanna and just having a look at these in advance. It's great to see the visions and well crafted. Obviously, it took some time as a group. Putting together the missions and the values and your visions, and when I looked at that and then took a look at some of the previous neighborhood development work, same sort of binding and presentations that of course we had in a very memorable council meeting that's devoted itself specifically to neighborhood development. We see similar things, and then when you start to get into these documents, you start to get a clearer understanding, Madam Chairman, of some different needs in different communities throughout the city. So I would highly recommend that folks that want to better understand our city as it relates to neighborhood by neighborhood by neighborhood to have a look at these documents, because you're hearing it straight from the residents, and it's most valuable, I believe, and very well presented here today, and congratulations on all of the work that you've done in your community. I suspect, and from what I've seen now over a year in places like Beasley and Stinson community, and to the mayor's comment, I think people that maybe had not been engaged before, that got engaged, that did start attending meetings, if they feel that time wasn't wasted, and that the goals and missions and these actions that you've carefully listed out and prioritized here are acted upon and come to fruition, as we heard from the ward councillor, in many cases, or in some cases it has, and that continues, that engagement level will only increase, and folks will remain entrenched in the neighborhood development piece as it relates to a on the ground commitment from the people who are obviously most affected by what goes on in their surroundings, and that would be the residents. So well done. It's a great program. I'm very much a proponent of neighborhood development. I've seen it in action. I've seen it work here in the downtown core as the Ward 2 councillor, and I've seen the commitment from the residents and their satisfaction in many cases as we're moving forward. And a little later, you're going to even see some approval items with respect to a discussion item where it's laid out, and where some discretionary funding on my part is used, actually to the tune of over $700,000, specifically to address the action items in two different neighborhoods with respect to this piece. And hopefully it sees council's approval a little later, and I'll speak to it a little bit later. But I'm so committed and so very much enthralled in the mandate of this as it goes forward, that I want to answer to the folks and answer to that commitment in terms of supporting it financially moving forward, and we'll see that a little bit later. And with that, again, Madam Chair, I'll have to conclude with saying what I've already said publicly many times. Congratulations to Paul Johnson and his staff in neighborhood development. They're doing great work in getting people organized, getting people together, and then of course the people themselves from these various neighborhoods are taking that ball and running with it, and it's most impressive, and I think it's a game changer for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Again, well said, and I just like to put forward a few comments also. Thank you. I know how hard it is, and to stand up here and to bring forward your group's sort of discussions and comments, and trying to make it all filter through and what you remember as you're standing at that podium. It's not easy. You did an excellent job. And I know when the presentations received in the fall from the other groups that we had earlier, all I can say is I think it's wonderful. It's your neighborhood, and you can encapsulate and grasp all of your needs and work together. It may be inch by inch, but you're getting your neighborhoods back. And I think that's the most wonderful thing that I see here every time I hear these presentations, is just that respect and understanding that you all are creating going forward. And you know what, that's what neighborhoods are all about. So excellent job. Please keep the momentum going. And to Paul Johnson's done a terrific job. I can't express how wonderful it's been. And hopefully we will have all of our city as one big city that will work together, and recognizing everybody's little idiosyncrasies and needs, and excellent abilities that are in every community, because those are things that we don't always grasp every day. And by you sitting around the table with all of your residents and people interested in being involved, these come forward. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.